how do you run a business that literally is like, hey, you over here, you can pay for that stuff, and oh, you want it for free? Yeah, just go ahead and take it. Well, how does a business stay in business like that?
Wow, we're going to never believe this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Relevant Rants. Mike, I'm glad to have you back. Where you been, dude? Tell the audience, where have you been?
I've been paying the bills, making it rain.
You have. Wow, we're all a bunch
Somebody's got to do that.
We're a bunch of loafers, and he's just getting her done. I think you've been to Texas, and you've been to San Diego,
Las Vegas, Tennessee, Dallas.
Wow. He's a United States traveler. So we're glad you joined us today. We're so happy. Subscribe and like us. So today we're starting with a current event. Oklahoma State Sooners girls have just won the national softball championship, and congratulations.
Longest winning streak in history.
Longest winning streak, and we're going to, our producer, director, Alex Howe, is going to put up a clip from these girls.
Yes, I live in the moment, but I know this isn't my home, and no matter what, my sisters in Christ will be there with me in the end when we're with our King. So,
Patty, you've got to...
But man, did they knock the ball out of the park, literally when they sat down.
And figuratively
when they sat down for their press interview.
Yeah.
These three girls gave all the glory to Christ.
They did.
Man, if you haven't seen this, three teenage girls give Jesus all the glory. And why they should. They didn't just lift it and say Jesus gets the glory. Why he gets the glory.
Yeah.
Even though they've got the longest winning streak.
I mean, it's basically a sermon on ESPN.
3 national championships, and they, like we said, knocked the ball out of the park, literally and figuratively.
But you know what it makes me think of, and we talked about this before the show, was, you know, it like if we look at this through spiritual eyes, like as we should as Christians, like we see, like the Bible says, our battle's not against flesh and blood, right? And you can really see the battle between good and evil heating up, and it's across the board, right? Like God's using some people in that fight that aren't traditionally like in the Christian camp, you know, even Muslims and some others, but like, you know, the Bible says if you're not for me, you're against me, or something along. Am I misquoting scripture?
Well,
Tom?
what it is Jesus says a house divided can't stand.
Yeah.
When the religious people of his day and lawyers were coming against him, saying, you're doing these acts of good things through the power of the devil. And he says the devil's kingdom's not even divided.
Yeah.
You know? And so give you the point of, if the devil's kingdom's not divided and God's kingdom's not divided, there is a battle line.
But
and we're seeing, you know what I love about these girls, Mike, is that a lot of people will complain about the new generation coming up, right?
Yeah.
But you don't get to see this type of spiritual solidarity and influence because they're playing sports, but they're bringing in a solid, confident outlook on life from the young perspective.
Right.
You know, my daughters will always say this, Mike, and they'll say, we're sitting in the pews and we're hearing preachers preach against this generation. We're like, hey, we're here. You know, we give our money, we give our time. Why preach down to us? And if you're out there and you're young, I apologize for people that are saying you're not doing it if you are doing it. Now, if you're not doing it, you got to get on board and start doing it. You know, because there is an entitlement, I think, that some people have. But these girls aren't seeing it.
I'm a big believer in sports, right, as you are. And not because, I think my kid's going to go on to play in the NFL or something like that, but it's such a huge character development for working with others and self-discipline and so many other ways. And I think that's, you know, of course, your family's achieved, you know, at a higher level, but I think having that in your life and having some discipline, but, you know, I think it's going back to looking at the battle is heating up between good and evil.
It is. And talking about that, we'll just jump into Donald Trump is indicted on 7 counts in classified documents. I mean, like, okay, you know, Donald Trump even said it. He's a target.
Right.
And they've said you are a target. And it's so crazy as you start to see the horizon being set like you were talking about. YouTube even reverses its policy that banned claims of fraud in 2020
Well,
election.
I think it's interesting because you read all these articles, and we've used sources that are leftist sources,
Yes.
right? But you read all these articles, and they say, oh well, YouTube's saying, well, you can say it. We still think that you're wrong and it's misinformation, blah blah whatever. What they're actually saying, at least as far as my purview is yeah, we can't deny it anymore.
Yeah, okay. Well, it says that YouTube will now allow 2020 election denialism content and policy reversal because it's not even denial content. It's just stating things, and I think all the conspiracy theories have been proven out to be true. So as we're talking about this, I think you have to bring into it the Biden controversy. I mean, anybody, if you're out there and you do not believe, and I'm going to say some things that may sound off course, because I prayed for President Biden this morning. I prayed that somebody would have enough common sense, and you would expect it to be his wife, to go and talk to this old man. And I'm going to say that because he's an old man. And he's starting to become a significant problem for the left.
Yeah.
I mean, because now they're saying some of this reversalism is coming because they now know Hillary Clinton was responsible for the Russian misinformation. Hillary was responsible. Right. I mean, they came out, the reports are saying it's her. We don't hear the
Or they're
left.
throwing her under the bus now.
Yes. So now you've got old Joe, and now the FBI report is starting to show that alleged $5 million went to Biden from Ukraine Natural Gas Company from Burisma, which wasn't his son on that board?
Yeah, well, I thought this was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Now they're saying they got stuff, and guess what? They won't release it. Why would they release it? Come on, guys. If you're going to indict Trump, let's go after the knuckleheads on the left like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. We're just going to call you out. Right?
Yeah, what's crazy is that it looks to me, which if anybody's paying attention, a lot of deflection.
Yes.
Because they're like, hey, we're actually guilty of it, but we're going to point our fingers at you. Well, we would have done it if we were you. In fact, we did do it.
Yes. It's like they got a FBI form. It's called the FD 1023 that starts talking about this.
Yeah. Well, we're in a real interesting time because we're at the point where neither side, frankly, at least if anybody's paying attention, trusts the government, trusts election, trust the institutions, the alphabet agencies, FBI, CIA, DHS. And any of them, nobody trusts them anymore. And so we're coming into 2024 elections next year. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how that goes and what happens.
We all cringed. I did. No, I can't say that. We all. I cringed when I heard Donald Trump coming after the FBI and the CIA as agencies because they have power.
Yeah. Well, they still have some form of power.
He came right after him, and guess who's indicting him?
Yeah.
The DOJ.
Right.
Federal charges. So if you're out there and you've got a brain, don't get mad at us for just pointing out the obvious.
Right.
So I even have to, who is running the country? Because they're picking some savory characters. I mean, let's go back to Sam Brinton.
Sticky fingers.
Sticky fingers, Sam Brinton. I think his job was a nuclear waste expert.
I thought he was a baggage checker.
He's a baggage stealer.
I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
It's just funny because
he was just looking for something.
They put him up there because they wanted to give what they felt was a fringe group, disenfranchised group. He's a non-binary ex-Biden official, and he got arrested again for another baggage theft. Somebody was saying it's not his second, but it's maybe his third alleged. I mean, what's going on? I mean, you even hear him having a hand in this Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence because he was a chapter leader in D.C. That doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Because the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are being honored at the Dodger game I think coming up.
There's a lot of
week.
upset Dodger fans.
Oh my gosh! I still say, Mike, it'd be interesting, and my wife will not let me go. I would like to go to the Dodger Stadium and sit in the parking lot after this game.
Right.
After the Dodger fans throw down some cerveza, and they're walking out. I'm not a Dodger fan. I'm an Angel fan, and so I don't go to the Dodger game in my Angel gear because they're some pretty intense fans. I mean, if you're not Dodger blue, you're not
they're
welcome.
the old Raider fans.
They are, and so when they have this night, Pride Night, and they're giving Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence a honor during halftime, I'm just saying that the parking lot might get wild afterwards, and I don't know, but I'm just saying you got this sticky fingers Sam Brinton, who was the chapter leader of DC, and this group is out there just to make fun and be critical of the Catholic religion.
Right.
That's all they are to do there.
What'll it even really stand for? Just debauchery, or
No. You think about it. Perpetual indulgence. What's indulgence?
giving into anything?
And it just keeps rolling. Perpetual.
Yeah.
So they just keep rolling with their indulgence. I don't know if that means they feed it, but if you just go out there and look it up, okay? And this was a top Biden official. Yeah. So we're having some train wrecks, Mike, around the country.
Speaking of Biden.
What a train wreck. So we're having train derailments. And we're made aware of that it's not an uncommon fact, but I think the uncommon fact, Mike, is that we're hearing about it now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems suspicious.
It
right?
does.
I think nowadays, if you're not a little bit suspicious, and I'm not saying I'm buying into everything the Republicans are dealing out to me. I'm not buying into that either. I mean, it's interesting that the Republicans are going to have a convention, and they've got several people. Mike Pence just joined in with
that's crazy.
And Trump and the rest. And I don't think the Democrats are. I think it's just Biden.
No, there's a few.
Have you ever been to Vegas and doubled down on a bad hand? that you were playing either poker in the river or you're playing blackjack and you get a 13 and you're going to bet on the hand. I feel like that's the Democratic Party right now. I think you're doubling down on the wrong hand.
the one thing
that
the Democrats have going for them is they stand for all the wrong things for America, at least in my opinion.
For the wrong thing,
but
for the right thing of uniting the party.
Right, but they stand together. Like that's the problem. If Republicans would ever become united and stand together, like there would be no stopping that force.
Well, you know these derailments. You just got to know that there's something else going on, right?
Yeah.
It's funny with people the way they spend the money, because you'd think California, with the money that our governor Newsom, we're giving you a shout out, you has spent on
causing people to leave.
Yes. So it's saying California spent $17 billion on homelessness, and it's not working. And I do believe this is a Wall Street Journal article. I do believe that. You can check it out. But you thought that we were going to save money, because wasn't Newsom going to defund the police too?
Right. He was going to take all the money from the police and give it to the homeless. I
think that was the thing, but
I'm not sure how that makes any sense. But.
So our pride city in California, we have several, but the number one pride city in San Francisco. San Francisco mayor asked for $63 million more for police amid crime wave. What the heck? We're having a crime wave?
Who would have thought that taking all the money and getting rid of the policemen, we'd have more crime, right?
Yeah. I mean, defund the police, right? That's what they said, and we'll have less crime. Well, now we need more money to fight the crime wave, and people are pulling out of San Francisco because the theft is through the roof, and they're saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read Lululemon, the CEO this morning, fired some employees because they tried to stop some theft. And I was like, okay, well.
Yeah, so we're promoting the bad guys and we're firing the people that are trying to, like, it makes no sense to me. Well, I don't understand, like, why would you get rid of employees who are frankly, like I would consider doing their job.
We have a friend that was let go. The article we have here says that the California is trying to pass a bill
Yeah.
to not let employees stop theft. I mean,
How do you run a business that literally is like, hey, you over here, you can pay for that stuff, and oh, you want it for free? Yeah, just go ahead and take it. Well, how does a business stay in business like that?
I'll tell you how, Mike, because you're a business owner. I'm surprised you're asking me that question. They're going to raise the price.
Right.
They'll double the price, so the people that really, you and I couldn't consciously steal something.
No.
I have to pay for it.
Right.
You know, it's just the way I am.
So your big question mark about why does it cost so much to live in California? Well, one of the reasons is because half of the people get stuff for free. Now, half of the people are getting stuff given to them for free by the government, and then those same people or other people are just like, well, the government didn't give it to me, but I'm just going to take it. Yeah, you know what? That's actually perfectly legal. Go ahead. Don't you dare try to stop them.
Isn't that called entitlement?
I think it's more than that. It's enabling and emboldening.
Yes, it is. Well, we got a Democrat in Maryland. She's an official. She says that Muslim children are aligning with white supremacists for opposing LGBTQ curriculum.
We're in Looney Tune land.
I mean, so we had some Muslim students come out and say they got a problem with this. And I think what they really are saying is that their religion is teaching them something contrary to what the school is teaching them in the LGBTQ plus
ABC
divided,
hashtag
curriculum, because they're saying to support all lifestyles. Now listen, hey, if you're going to go out there and you're over 18 and you want to just do whatever you want and get surgeries and that kind of stuff, I mean, you know, if you're an adult, do it, but don't start indoctrinating the kids. And I think that's what we have a problem with. But I think that's what the Muslim students are starting to say. Our religion is conflicting what we're learning at school also. So what this Democrat Maryland official says is, you're a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Now, what does it take to become a white supremacist, Mike?
Apparently having morals and ethics and values.
I used to think that you had to be white and had to think that
you were better than everyone?
Yes, but I don't think you have to, because I have a lot of friends of color that have been called that because they just want law and order. They want fairness. They want things to be attributed out there. And I don't think you can just label things.
Well, I think the libs have gone so far now of calling people white supremacists that it's kind of lost any real value to even saying anymore.
I mean, there again, as I'm looking at the Muslim students, they are children of color.
Yeah.
And it is. So I got a question I'd like to ask BMW, Cisco, Bethesda, and BP. Your logo in America is sporting the LGBTQ
radical indoctrination ideologies and
colors.
Yeah.
The colors are different than they are in the Middle East. So if you can look at it, we'll show you there that BMW is obviously not changing their colors for the Middle East. Cisco did not change their color for the Middle East. Bethesda did not change their logo for the Middle East, and neither did BP.
Well, it's kind of weird. It's almost like the only real reason they're doing it is for financial gain or something.
Are they recognizing that the people in the Middle East, which are predominantly Muslim, aren't buying this?
Yeah, like, hey, we're for this, where it might be financially viable or financially beneficial,
or we're trying to change people's minds.
And over here, where it's impossible to change people's minds.
Yeah.
And it's going to be financially detrimental. Well, we're going to do something different because we don't really stand for this. All we really stand for is how much money can we put in our pockets.
So does this in some way think that they're fooling somebody?
Yeah, I think they do think that.
I'm not saying that they're. I mean, I have a lot of friends, of Muslim descent, and some that believe in the Islamic religion, and some that don't. I've got a family that's close to you and I that are they're Lebanese Christians. Mm-hmm. We got friends that are Muslims from Iran. I mean, we've got those friends, and I think they could figure this out.
Well, aren't they white supremacists for agreeing with
Could
this?
be. I guess so. I guess so. And talking about that, Mike, we have our friend and supporter, Elon Musk of Daily Wire on Twitter, which he is embracing free speech.
Yeah.
And of course, the left says he's letting too much out there. But man, what is a woman
I
from
think
our
he's one of
friends, our friends at Daily Wire?
Yeah.
Has now reached, now I know the number's higher than this because my daughter is the manager of talent for Daily Wire. But this last article that came out says What is a Woman blows past 170 million views on Twitter. Twitter alone.
Well, I think Elon's the only one that's really fighting for truth and First Amendment rights.
Just lay it out there. Let people decide. Don't think that you've got to. You know what? I've got a saying that you don't have to pull the lid off a sewer to know it stinks.
But you know what's interesting? So
Elon basically is letting people go out there and let human beings with a brain decide what's good and what's bad. You don't have to pull the lid off.
What's interesting is 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe less, we had considered Elon a liberal, right? But so what's interesting is he is still thinking the same way that he thought those many years ago, right? But the liberals have become so radicalized and so far to the left. But what's crazy is he's the only one this maybe not the only one, but he's one of few people who think for themselves because everyone else is just towing the party line.
Mike, I've said to our audience, I was a liberal and a Democrat when I first voted. And it didn't take me long to realize my values are still the same.
Right.
It's the party that left me.
Well, you know who else was a big name liberal at one time? Joe Rogan.
Yep. It's just crazy. So Elon Musk is criticizing why farmers in Ireland, the government proposes to slaughter 200,000 cows to meet the EU climate change goals.
Agenda.
Well,
he doesn't say agenda. I'm calling it an agenda.
No, it's a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, it's an agenda.
Because if you go out there and use your mind, they're not making a difference. They are. They're just. There's a bigger. Can we just say we smell a rat here someplace?
Yeah, or a fart.
Yep, because they're saying get rid of the pigs and the cows because they produce methane gas because they eat stuff. And as you want to do that, what happens to our food supply? There's something else because it goes along with the train derailment.
Yeah, the
cows that burn up, the chickens that died. I mean, it's like, what are you trying to pull past us? You know, they want to censor what is a woman, and I think what is a woman is the same thing as like killing cows. It's like it's obvious. What's a woman?
Yeah. Well, they're
distinctive. There's characteristics that are distinctive in a woman and in a man.
They're blaming everything on climate change. And you've seen AOC, our favorite man or woman on the street, that knows nearly nothing. And
she does. She was a bartender.
Oh, right. Okay, so she's smarter than average person.
She can make drinks.
She knows how to make a drink.
I guess. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. But she's politicizing the fires and the smoke and everything else. But really, like, we've had fires for centuries. Prior to globalization, prior to industrialization, we've had big, giant fires that have taken out thousands, hundreds of thousands of acres of forest land.
We got to pray for the East Coast, New York, because Canada has like crazy wildfires that have made New York the worst air quality in the world.
I thought that was our title.
But I thought Canada. I thought what's the guy's name in Canada?
Stalin. Oh.
Yeah, Trudeau. I thought he had this. I thought he had climate control under control, and now the forest is choosing to deforest itself, burning up. But
it's almost like it's natural selection.
it's like you're fighting nature, guys.
Right.
You know, we think we're going to kill cows and we're going to solve the climate problem.
Yeah.
The Bible tells us to be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you believe the Bible, liberals, let me give you a very thought-provoking idea. If you read the end of the Bible, God creates a new earth.
He does.
So maybe the earth has a shelf life.
Well, I think even science says that it does.
I know. And of course, you could do things to speed that up. But hey, if you go back and look at the plastic recycling, that was such a debauchery.
That whole thing's a scam and a fraud, right?
Oh, my gosh. But we were told to believe it. We recycle plastic and we're going to save the world.
Yeah, but they're not even actually recycling the plastic. Like, that's a whole separate story, but they are.
We go to electric cars. We could go down this rat hole if we wanted to.
We have Steve here for our favorite conspiracy guy.
I've got another thing that I want to do because I want to talk about something that my wife has pointed out. My wife's a superintendent in the public school system. And 43% of boys are raised by single mothers, which is a travesty. And guys, get your act together. If you're man enough to father a child, raise a child.
Well, the sad part about that is the government's promoting that, and especially in minority families.
Yeah, they are. They give you more money. 78% of teachers are female. So close to 50% of boys have 100% female influence at home and 80% feminine influence at school. Toxic masculinity isn't the problem. The lack of masculinity is the problem.
Well, and it's interesting. I've had this conversation. I'm sure Tiffany would agree with this as well, with Ludavia, and she's like, women actually, and I'm sure I'm not saying this is a blanket statement, right? But I think that a majority of women, my wife would vouch for this, would agree with this statement. Women want a strong man to lead their household, but they want a man to lead their household, not be weak and not be a jerk and not, but a godly man.
I've been speaking a lot on masculinity, and there's a right way to do this.
Yes.
And Jesus lays out the example. Jesus elevated women in his group.
That's right.
Mary and Martha, the woman at the well, he's talking to her, Mary and Martha. Even the first two that came to the tomb were women.
Yeah.
They were the first ones to report back Jesus had risen. So they have a prominent position. And I even believe, as you look at the way it's laid out for us, men are supposed to love their wives like Christ loved the church, means die for them.
That's right. That's right.
And if you do that, there is no toxic masculinity.
No.
But any man that wants to beat on a woman or subject a woman, there's a problem
Well,
there.
I wouldn't.
I don't have to call that masculinity.
I wouldn't call that masculinity. I would call that being a coward. You can go fight another woman, but wait till you come up to a dude and you're going to get whooped.
Yes, I would agree there. And I think we'll leave on that moment right there as a mic drop by Mike.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's been fun. Glad to have you back, Mike.
I'm glad to be back.
Hey, thank you for looking and watching us. If you disagree with us, hey, that's why we're living in America, right? We have free speech. You have free speech. And there again, Elon Musk, keep doing what you're doing, because I think you're a blessing to people who do what we do.
Amen.
Have a great day.
God bless.